What's good? What's happening with the peoples, man? Battle Boy Media, man. Stay woke or wake up. As you guys can see by the thumbnail, mandatory exercise, right? Yo, before I even get into all of that, man, definitely uh I need my saps, man. I need my saps. We all we got pretty much, man. 99 likes, 99 shares, man. Like get that out into the atmosphere, man. Let's do what we need to do for us, you heard? But as you guys can see, salutes. I appreciate you. As you guys can see by the title or the thumbnail, mandatory exercise, right? So what I'm about to do is pretty much let you guys in on. It's just yo, it's crazy how every time you about to, every time you go loud, like people just start hitting you, right? But anyway, I'm about to let you guys know that this quick story time on why it was mandatory to exercise, why I started to exercise, and how I actually, well, not even me, how, my brothers actually saw something in me when it came to exercising and how I, started the journey in that direction. Yeah. So, again, like, share, subscribe. Um, yeah, show some love pretty much. So, all right, mandatory exercise, right? So there was a point in my bid, the beginning of my bid, where I was getting into it with a lot of officers. Um, you know, I'm coming in to Rikers Island. Uh, who knows how much I weigh? Like a buck 20 or whatever the case may be. You got to figure. Um, you know, I'm on the block, getting money, eating fast food every other day, a little bit of Jamaican food here and there, smoking my head off daily. I think I smoked more than I actually ate, whether it was cigarettes or weed, and a lot of henny and a lot of moet. So by the time I made it to the island, like I was pretty much washed. So like I said, I know that I know I wasn't going home. So I'm on Rikers. I say like that was actually my second time on Rikers. Um, but the point in hand of where the exercise came in at is because I kept getting into issues with police and they was tossing me around. What? Yeah, they was tossing me around. Um, like yeah, I knew how to fight. Um, but obviously the strength that I carried, like physically, it wasn't enough for them officers. You could forget about the turtles. Like if I couldn't toss the officers around, like the turtles definitely had their way. All right. Salutes to the people's pulling up, man. Appreciate you. Definitely hit that like button. Um. So yeah. Um. It was an incident. I got into one incident with an officer, and it's like from then it just never stopped. So I would be getting called to go down on a visit, and I'll get stopped in the hall. They'll, make sure all the prisoners is out of eyesight or whatever the case may be. You throw your hands on the wall or whatever the case may be. And before you know it, they'll just start raining blows on me. Like, it happened one time, two time, the third time it started happening. Like, I already knew what was about to go down as soon as they'll stop me and, they'll put me on the wall or whatever the case may be. I see they trying to look out to make sure that, the hallways is pretty much like empty before they do what they do. So by the second time, third time I got hit with that, when they tell me to put my hands on the wall, like I already could tell from what it is that they've been doing, um, what was about to happen. So, I'll be able to scan the halls as well too. And I just started popping off on them. Because they was flushing me anyway. Um, it was one time I think I went to the infirmary. Um, they ended up wowing me up again. This time, like this was a little bit more of a vicious beating, yo. Like they try to like I don't know, like break my ankle. Like they had me on the floor, and one officer, like he's just twisting my foot back and forth, like he's trying to, you know, before they got me down on the ground, like of course, I'm wilding, but once they get you down, like you already know, like it's quiet. So um every other visit, I'm coming down with either swollen nose, swollen lip. My mother was terrified. She didn't know what to do. I think she said she was gonna call Al Sharpton, yeah. She was gonna call Al Sharpton. She was trying to tell me to chill, and I'm like, yo, it's not me. Like I'm literally just defending myself. But again, I'm like 120 pounds soaking wet, yeah. So long story short, for whatever not for whatever reason, of course I know the reason why they ended up booting me off the island, right? And they ended up sending me, to the Bronx house or whatever the case may be, man. Um, I didn't work out at all on the island. Um, Even when they sent me to the Bronx house, I didn't work out. Like it was just too much on my mind. I had, a big charge, didn't know what to expect. Only 19 years old, knew I wasn't coming home, just didn't know how much time I was gonna actually get. I get sent to the Bronx house. I didn't get into no more incidents with officers after I left the island. Um, Fast forward, get sentenced, get sent to upstate. Um, you know, Downstate was pretty much damn near 23-hour lock in because you're in reception, getting ready to see, your counselor, so you could know your classification, so you could pretty much narrow down what jails you go into. Of course, I didn't really know the jails like that or whatever the case may be. I'm just learning as I go, you know. Um, so they classified B Max B. All right. So of course, being a part of what it is that I chose to be a part of, like, you know, once you know your rules and what it is that you live by, like, definitely exercising is definitely mando, yeah. So the 1 hour rec that they would allow us, um, you know, I'll go to the gym and just check the scenery, see what's going on or whatever, man. I'm seeing dudes flying on a bar. Dudes is playing ball. You got the little universal weights over there, whatever the case may be. I'm definitely all the way like not. I don't want to say that I'm new to working out because I did DFY bids or whatever the case may be, and I worked out there, whatever. But again, it's just a lot on my mind. Working out wasn't really there, but I'm just thinking like, yo, you know what? I'm about to go somewhere up in these mountains, and I'm pretty sure that um, they don't like nobody that's pretty much like blood related. So I gotta get my life together. So I don't know. There was an old timer there named Papa West. I don't know where he was from, man. For some reason, like every time we go to wreck, he was on that bar and he was flying, like flying on that bar, like getting that work. And I used to be looking like, yo, damn, like how did nah, he make it look too easy. Let me go on the bar and you know, I'll get one pull up. I couldn't do two. I couldn't do two pull ups at 19. Washed up ain't the word. All them danishes with the cheesecake in the with the cheesecake filling in the middle, all them Entenmann's, like yeah, I was full of that and Sprite and oatmeal. all that craziness, man. But I could not pull my weight. I could only do 1.5 pull-ups. So I'm not even sure how long I stayed in downstate for, but I know I ended up turning 20 years old in downstate. And sometime after that, that's when I left, right? So every time we went to rec, like I would go on the bar, trying to mimic what it is that I saw Papa West doing, as far as doing pull-ups, right? So I guess maybe about 2 weeks later, whatever, I went from like one pull-up to like two and a half, and boy, that was like the biggest accomplishment for me, man. Because I'm like, yo, okay, I'm starting to see some type of progress. Like, ain't like I couldn't believe it. So that got me hyped to continue, because for a while it was like, yo, dang, like I can't pull my own self up, like that's wild. So you know the 2.5 turned into 3.5, the 3.5 turned into to 4 to 5 to 6 to now, like I'm able to actually pull myself up. So I'm like, yo, you know what? Future reference, if ever I get into an altercation with any officers or whatever, like I'm gonna get them a run. Like it ain't gonna be no tossing me here, tossing me over there. Like I'm gonna get them a run before they flush me. All right? Like it ain't gonna just be like how they was doing me on the island. So um, pretty much from that point on, it's been workout, Mando workout. Dig what I'm saying? Throughout the whole bid, um, was workout. Even when I was in a box, like all right, no weights or whatever. All right, calisthenics. Like all right, no pull ups, just push ups. Like it was just no way that I wasn't gonna work out, because again, like you know, just the flashbacks of how they dealt with me then. When I was so much smaller, it was like, nah, ain't happening never again in life. You heard? Like getting just tossed around any old type of way. Yo, people's just pulling up. Appreciate you. Salutes. Definitely tap that like button. Share the live, man, if you will. Tap in, walk with me, alright? So from going from the calisthenics, I got introduced into the weights, um, from a friend of mine that I ain't gonna say we knew each other in the town. I guess we knew of each other. He was definitely older than me, so he pretty much like, once I pulled up, you know, to the prison where I was sent to, like he was pretty much situated there, and his weight was up, so he pretty much knew what he was doing as far as like, lifting weights and body parts and this, that, and the third, how to exercise, and so I fell into that program when it came into, working out, and start, doing different body parts throughout the week. Um, it was so crazy that, um, like I hated the workout. I'm not even gonna lie. I hated the workout. I'll be sore. I didn't have food in my locker. I was twisted. I had a surcharge, no GED, no nothing. Um, and my boy, he was up. He had his food situated. He was in a spot for a minute. His weight was up. It got to a point where I would see it, and it's Jimbo, by the way, that I'm speaking on. Excuse me. I would see him come to the yard, and I'll try to duck him because it's like, bruh, like I don't feel like working out, man. Like, but it was for good reasons. It started to pay off. Like, I wasn't one of those that would be in the mirror or whatever the case may be, like checking to see my size. Like, I'm just trying to get through the workout, man. Lift what we gotta do. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, cool, man. Like, let me get this thing over with, man. So it stuck with me, and I worked out for like the rest of my bid. Did I get into more altercations with officers? Definitely. Um, I definitely did. I didn't get tossed around like I did on Rikers, um, but still ended up getting thrashed at the end anyway. Because pretty much you in them people's house, so ain't gonna be too much of a win. And if you do win, they might end up sending you home in a box, you heard? But thank God it didn't get to that point. But the future altercations that I ended up getting in with police up north, like I definitely lost at the end because they deep. You get pulled off in a section of the jail you ain't from. Yeah, and it get dark. You heard? Um, fast forward, right? Fast forward. I get released. Do like the live, y'all. Appreciate y'all pulling up. Hit the like button. Definitely share the live. Show love, man. Um, I gets released, unsure of what it is that I wanted to do. Couldn't believe that my time was up, right? And I'm actually getting released. Actually, I'm lying. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to take some courses and become a chef. Um, but for whatever reasons, that didn't go through. I'm searching information, trying to, follow up to see what it is that I could get into because I'm unsure of what it is that I want to do now that I'm actually home. Um, my brothers that finally figured out that I was home once we was actually on the phone for like an hour, and they realized they didn't hear the "you got 60 seconds left on this call," and ended up letting them know I was home or whatever the case may be. So I'm gonna fast forward to the part of where we get to the fitness aspect in the street. So my boys come check me. They like, "Yo, what do you like to do, Battle Boy?" Like, I'm like, "What you mean? What I like to do? Like, I don't know, like work out." So they like, "Word, all right, we gonna get you a membership at the gym." Cool. We get the membership at the gym, so we go work out. So I'm pretty much working out like how I know to work out. Mind you, my brothers, they wasn't really familiar with working out to the extent of how I was. So we'll go to the gym, maybe like I don't know, started going every day, like we're utilizing the membership, right? So we'll go like four times out of the week. Excuse me, depending on what's being done, what's happening, for the week or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, we're in the gym. So now while we're in the gym and we're working out, like of course I'm putting the routines together, um, the count of the repetitions that we got to do, what body part we're doing that day, etc., etc. And one day, my bros was like, "Damn, Battle Boy, like you should be a trainer." And I'm like, "Trainer?" I'm like, I'm still with the up north mentality. Like trainer. I don't even like people. Like you bugging out. Like picture me trying to train a dude. Like listen, I'm like that's not me. I was definitely institutionalized still. Mind you, I'm fresh home. So they're like, yo, nah, like you really should. Like you know what you're doing. Like your workouts seem to be effective. Like you take safety precautions, and you showed us how to spot. He's running down everything of what it is that they see me apply with them while we working out. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, well, isn't that how we supposed to work out? Like, isn't that like who's gonna let somebody get hurt while you're actually working out? But in my mind, like I got it down pat because I've been doing it for all these years, and it's foreign to them, but they see how everything is pretty much structured when it comes to working out. So days going by while we working out, they driving. Now one of the brothers is like driving the point, like, yeah, you really should work out. What do you think about this, that, and the third? And I'm like, I don't think about this, that, and the third. Um, so he started sending me. Now, mind you, I couldn't even download an app when I came home, and my bro is telling me like I need to look up where I could get certified as a trainer, and I'm really not trying to hear them. Because again, like that's not something that I wanted to do, like, you know. But again, behind and it's good to have brothers that um have faith in you, that see things in you that you may not even see in yourself, um that'll push you to be the best you that you can be based off of the talents that you naturally display. All right, so definitely shout out to my brothers Jude and Jade, Winston as well too, man. Um, so my brother, he's going over all of this information with me as far as like working out and which uh which online course to take and this, that, and the third. And again, I'm not paying him too much of any mind, like because again, I'm not interested. In the process, my brothers is getting stronger. My brothers is getting their weight up, and they loving the look, they loving the feel. Um, so we continuing to work out, and then like you know, one day I just like I started to get like workbooks and textbooks in the mail, and when I looked at it, I'm like, it said ISSA, those that ever been involved in the personal training lifestyle. ISSA is International Sports and Science Association. One of the fitness courses that you could actually take. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, why is this coming to the crib? Like, what's going on? Like, all right, so while I'm exercising, trying to learn the internet on the laptop and stuff like that, like I'm looking at the workbook, I'm looking at the textbook. Now it's piquing my interest. So I'm looking inside the textbook, reading some like a lot of the terminology like I'm familiar with, just off of working out from up north, from working out with a Jimbo, working out with um Cube, my son Cubano, Cuba. Um, when I started working out with Cuba, that's where I noticed my body start to really like transform into something different. These dudes was really involved in a working out or whatever the case may be. So I'm looking at the material in the textbooks, the workbooks, and months is going by. My boy is asking me like, "Yo, did you ever get this, that, and the third?" And then I'm like, "Yeah," like me not putting it together. It's like all right, cool. Um, Somehow one of my other bros, you know, I let him know about what came to the crib or whatever, and we always working out. So he's like, "Yo, you know what? Like that could be like a side gig for me." He was home before me or whatever the case may be. So he ended up getting the college courses, not the college courses, the training courses from the same place. And we used to like study together and do what it is that we needed to do. All right, cool. He'll do his own thing, and we start parting ways, not really linking up like that, or whatever the case may be. Being that I was fresh home and he's moving around, I got to the point of doing all the quizzes. I think it was like 36 quizzes before you take the actual test. Um, and when I took the actual test, I ended up failing the first time. Um, the test required, question Q&As and case studies. They gave you case studies where you pretty much, for instance, you get a case study like Jamal is a 17-year-old kid that plays football on a football team for such and such high school. He weighs about 230. He's a linebacker. He wants to work out to gain strength and speed, this, that, and the third. And you pretty much have to come up with routines to complement his goals or what it is that he's trying to meet. So I think it wasn't so much of that as why I failed. I think it was the new fitness terminologies I wasn't really familiar with. But either way, I ended up failing, right? So they allowed me two chances to actually take the main test before you have to pay for it again. And I think I got the courses maybe in like 2013 or something like that. Right, but the second time that I took the exam, I ended up passing. Um, by this time is like now I'm like invested because I don't want my bros to like waste money that was spent for the courses because it wasn't cheap. Like and I think that's what made me like really start buckling down on it. Um, is because when I looked up how much it costs to actually take the courses, it cost some money. So I was like, oh no, like nah, I gotta get this right, you heard? So boom, I ended up passing. It felt it felt very good. Um, I was up and running. So again, I just pretty much wanted to like tie the two from like doing time. Again, this is all for educational purposes, to show that you can either do your bid or let the bid do you, for one. um and certain things that you actually learn from sitting still for a lengthy amount of time, like you could definitely apply that into things that you want to do outside in the streets. Again, that's trust me, that's something that I never ever thought I would see myself doing. And I ended up learning so much from the textbooks, the workbooks, and then I just started tapping into my own creative side as far as like routines, and ended up being pretty good at it. And I mean pretty good in a sense, working with clients, and you know they they meeting their goals. Um, it's a beautiful feeling, and it just goes to show, like even though at times we tend to put ourselves in like bad positions in life, such as being in prison or whatever, like that definitely don't have to be like the story of your life, the end all of your life. You could definitely find good in any situation, and make it out to be what it is that you want it to be. It all depends on your mental and you know how far you look into things for yourself. Um, all that to say, um, thank God I was able to come home and have brothers by my side that I actually did have by my side to actually see something within myself that I didn't actually see in myself, to push me towards an area in life that I'm actually good at doing. Um, so again, definitely salutes to Jude and Jade, and shout out to my brother Winston as well too. Um, it was definitely a good look. It was a good look, and a good stress reliever for me, as it is for anybody that's pretty much like doing time or whatever the case may be. Because me adjusting in the streets, it was difficult for me. It was definitely difficult. Um, but again, I wouldn't change the release for the world, because I pretty much had to like feel myself through um the world that I was in, as opposed to the world where I was actually in. Um, it was different. It was different. I definitely had it hard, adjusting, adapting, especially for being away for as long as I was. But we made it through, man. And again, I'm not saying what it is that I'm saying to recommend anybody going through the school of hard knocks to try to make something of themselves, because everybody don't make it out the same. Everybody don't make it out. Like, this isn't one of those glorifying situations, man. I just wanted to tie the two together to show, how I was able to take something that I did not only for survival, but to keep myself healthy. Because, again, like I explained, those officers on Rikers was definitely throwing me around having a way, to the point of me utilizing, exercise as a tool to hold myself down, and not even thinking for a moment, when I get released, like this is something that I was doing just for survival in there, um, and taking it up as a profession out in the streets. So, you know, um, it's definitely a good look. I just wanted to share that story time with y'all again. Do like, share, subscribe, shout to everybody that pulled up. Y'all hit that like button for me. Definitely get the subscribes on. Definitely set the notification bell off. We working on this end slowly but surely. Definitely making sure that things are gonna be like effectively. And I got some surprises coming up, man. In the meantime, y'all stay good. Y'all stay woke or wake up. And this is what it's all about, man. Battle Boy Media. Y'all salute. Appreciate y'all.